I'm Jackson Proskow, and I approve this message. Does it ever feel like Americans are constantly holding elections?
USA! USA!
It seems like a non-stop cycle of campaigns, fundraisers, speeches, and yes, commercials. So many commercials.
In many countries, like Canada, federal elections typically happen every 4 or 5 years. But here in the U.S., they happen every 2 years, like clockwork. So what exactly are Americans voting for in a year like this one when they're not voting for president?
Well, in November, specifically on Tuesday, November 6th, the U.S. will hold midterm elections, and the results could drastically change the course of politics in this country at a pretty turbulent time.
Before we dive into what the midterms mean this year, we need to understand why we're here at all.
It's all about Congress. Go way back to 1787, when the framers of the Constitution decided the new United States needed a bicameral legislature.
And that's what they got. The building behind me is the U.S. Capitol, which people commonly refer to as Congress. It's actually made up of 2 separate branches.
There's the House of Representatives, which is the lower chamber, like Canada's House of Commons, and the Senate, which is the upper chamber. As spelled out in Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution, members of the House are elected to 2-year terms, senators are elected for 6 years.
So during the midterms, all 435 seats in the House of Representatives and 35 of the 100 seats in the Senate are up for grabs. But this year, there's only one number you need to remember: 23.
You see, right now, both houses of Congress are controlled by Republicans. But Democrats need to win just 23 seats to take control of the House, and that seems like a pretty realistic goal. Things are trickier for Democrats in the Senate. Right now, they're only 2 seats shy of a majority, but in November, they need to defend 26 of their current seats and then win 2 more.
But if either of those things happens, it'll cause real headaches for the guy who lives right here, slowing Donald Trump's agenda to a crawl.
Congress is on the ticket. And I try and tell my people that's the same thing as me, in a sense. That's the same thing.
Part of the challenge for Republicans if they lose control of the House, or particularly a challenge for the president, is that Republicans in the House, and to a lesser degree the Senate, I think have treated the Trump administration kind of with kid gloves. I mean, there's a lot of investigatory power in the House, in some of the House committees. And if Democrats become the chairman of those committees, they're really going to go after the president, because they may in fact decide that they want to have an impeachment vote on the president if the Democrats have the majority.
Now, predicting elections is kind of like forecasting the weather. If you look too far out into the future, it's hard to tell what's actually going to happen. So don't believe anyone who claims to know now whether Donald Trump will win another term in 2020.
Like never before, we're doing the job.
But look at the near term and you can make a pretty reliable prediction, which is why the pollsters feel confident that the Democrats are going to make big gains, what they're calling a blue wave.
The midterm election can often be a reflection on the president, even though the president himself is not actually on the ballot.
You can make numbers different ways.
Remember being in elementary school when you'd get a report card halfway through the semester so your parents would know how you were doing?
Thank you.
Well, the midterms are kind of like that. Voters effectively use them to grade a president's performance at the halfway point in their term.
And history is rarely kind to the president's party during the midterms. The lower the president's approval rating, the more likely their party is to lose seats.
Going all the way back to the American Civil War in 1862, the president's party has lost ground in 36 of the 39 midterm elections, losing an average of 33 seats. Now, Donald Trump's approval has hovered between the high 30s and low 40%, which could spell especially bad news for Republicans. Barack Obama had a 45% approval rating at this point in his first term, and when the midterms rolled around in 2010, the Democrats lost control of both the House. History is littered with other examples.
But the other factor here is geography. Remember that magic number 23? Well, that's where Republicans are really nervous.
Across the country, there are currently 25 districts held by Republicans where Hillary Clinton actually won the vote in the last presidential campaign. In other words, Republican support is already soft in more than the magic number of districts that the Democrats need to win. But the problem could actually be even bigger for Republicans. A recent special election in Ohio's 12th congressional district was so close it went to a recount. And that's in a district where the Republican candidate should have had no trouble winning by a landslide. There are now a whopping 68 districts where conditions are currently less favorable for Republicans than they were in Ohio.
Of course, these days nothing is predictable. Back in 2016, the polls forecast doom for Donald Trump. So much can change between now and Election Day. But even Republicans seem to have a sense of just how bad things could be. In fact, some of the biggest names in the party have decided this is the perfect year not to seek re-election. Perhaps it's a case of you can't fire me, I quit.